Hello and welcome to all of you once again. And thank you for joining us for now our fourth global call in preparation for the 2026 High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. And I am very pleased to see how many of you are continuing to proceed in this long journey toward the forum and to prepare yourselves to be strong participants in all of the opportunities that are included in the forum. And today we are making a bit of a shift in the journey, taking a bit of a turn around a corner, as you all have just had the opportunity to sort of observe the regional process of preparation for the forum by possibly engaging with some piece of the regional forum for sustainable development for your own region. And now in our preparation today, we are going to shift our focus a bit from the regional to the global as we get closer and closer to the global level forum in July. So our plan for today will be first to exchange any updates or reflections that we would like to share on any meetings that you all have had thus far with the VNR teams for your respective countries, meaning those teams that are creating statements that will respond to the reports and presentations of governments during the forum itself. And you will also have an opportunity to share any reflections on the Regional Forum on Sustainable Development from your own region, if you are able to watch any session or any portion of that forum. And then our second part of the session will be to give a little bit of input to introduce where you will be able to find the long written voluntary national review reports that will soon be published by each of your governments. And we should see those online in the next month about. So I will show you where you can find those when they are published. And then we will also review kind of a strategy that may help you to reflect on and to critique those reports when they are published. And I will also introduce once again the schedule and the overall design or concept for our JCoR SDG Lab, which will happen just after the actual forum in the month of July. And then, as always, we will review what our next steps are. And in this case, that will mean preparing for the JCoR SDG Lab by indicating which session of the lab you would each like to contribute to as a speaker or presenter. And we will also talk about the process of selecting a date and time for a second round of regional calls in which you can meet other delegates from your region in order to debrief and discuss a bit the reports that your governments will be publishing soon. So before we get into all of that, we will begin as usual with a brief prayer to bring ourselves together. So let us pray. Leadership is hard to define. God, let us be the ones to define it with justice. Leadership is like a handful of water. God, let us be the people to share it with those who thirst. Leadership is not about watching and correcting. God, let us remember it is about listening and connecting. Leadership is not about telling people what to do. God, let us find out what people want. Leadership is less about the love of power and more about the power of love. God, as we continue to undertake the role of leaders, let us be affirmed by the servant leadership we witness in Jesus Christ. Let us walk in the path that Christ has set, and let those who will follow. Let our greatest passion be compassion. Let our greatest strength be love. Let our greatest victory be the reward of peace. In leading, let us never fail to follow. In loving, let us never fail. Amen. So as I mentioned a moment ago, our first topic for exchange among ourselves is the updates and any comments that you all might like to share about your interactions with the teams of civil society who are preparing the response from your country to your government when they make their presentation in July. So the question that I will now put to all of you is, how have you been progressing in your participation with those VNR teams for your respective countries? Have you had the opportunity to meet with your team? Have you been emailing with them? In what stage is the progress toward creating the statement that will be delivered at the forum? Anything that you might like to share from that process, that interaction with your VNR teams, I would invite you to share it with us here. And if you would like to speak, you can, if you have your camera on, you can just raise your hand and wave the old-fashioned way. If you do not have a camera on, you could also use the raise hand button, which may appear on its own at the bottom of your screen, or it may be underneath the button for reactions. You may have there the option to raise your digital hand. And if nothing else, you also can unmute your microphone and just say, "Excuse me, I would like to speak," and get my attention that way. So is there anyone who has any update to share with respect to interacting and working with the VNR team of civil society from your country? Yes, please. Helga and Ferdinand.
This one.
Yes, we were invited to have a Zoom meeting with the people in Norway working for this VNR answer. And I was a little bit late and had some problems. And when I joined, I was the only member. So that was a little bit surprising and disappointing. But there were two women who want to facilitate that we can work on the report. And they were very competent, and they said that they will provide us with emails. And at the moment, we are in Sweden together with relatives, but we got an email yesterday, so we'll see what's there. So we are standing there right at the beginning. Nothing more just now. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your attention to the process, and thank goodness that you have been attentive to the process, as it seems there are not many from Norway who are probably aware of the opportunity, and even fewer who have followed through to seize the opportunity. So it is amazing to me when you think it could be representation for all of civil society from the whole country, and yet when the teams come together, usually it is very few people. So it is all the more important that you are aware and present. And as you can see from that experience, you have a very good opportunity to have your perspective included in the response. So in some way, I share your disappointment. I do wish there was better participation from every country. And at the same time, at least you know your voice will be included in the statement. So that is one positive of the situation.
Thanks, Teresa. We are looking forward to meeting at least some people who are working together with us. So we'll see.
And the facilitators that you mentioned, are either of them from Norway, or are they kind of like just administrators of the process?
I think they were administrators. There was a Russian lady living in Berlin and an English lady in London.
Huh,
They
okay.
told us they will help when we are discussing our answers, and also with translation or what we need. So I think they were really people who know what's to be done. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad you're in good hands with people who know the process, and you will bring the substance and the firsthand perspective, and that's beautiful. And thank heavens you are there.
Thank you. We'll do our best, I hope.
And that is all any of us can do. So, but the
Yeah.
first step is to be present and attentive, and that you are doing. So, congratulations and keep going.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has had any interaction or meetings with the VNR team from your country? Or any email messages?
Irmão Joel, missionário claretiano de Brasil, Estou envolvido com o movimento
Claretian
nacional ODS aqui do
from
Brasil para a
Brasilia.
construção
I'm
do
involved
VNR.
in the
Porém, um
VNR for
ponto
the building this,
negativo
but
é que esse
one
movimento ele
negative point is
acontece
that
por
this movement,
regiões, por
it happens
estados,
per
por cada
region, per
estado
state,
do Brasil.
each state
E
of
o
Brazil.
estado aonde
And the
eu
state
estou,
where I
onde eu estou
am,
morando, ele não está avançando
where
muito.
I am
Então,
living,
eu
is
estou
not advancing a
participando de uma
lot.
forma um
So
pouco
I'm
clandestina
participating
em
in a
um
sort
outro
of a
estado para
clandestine way
participar.
in
Então,
another
estou atento
state so
às
that I'm able
notícias
to
que vão
participate, so
acontecendo
I
e
can
tal.
pay
E uma
attention
coisa
to
muito
what is happening.
interessante é que
And
esse
one thing that's
movimento
very
nacional
interesting is that
ODS
this
aqui do
national
Brasil, no
movement,
mês de
ODS here in
julho,
Brazil,
vai realizar um congresso
in July,
presencial
there's going to be a
para
face-to-face
discutir sobre
Congress to
os
discuss
objetivos do
about the
desenvolvimento
goals, to discuss
sustentável,
about
e aí, com isso, eu
sustainable
estou me
development.
esforçando para conseguir
And
uma
I
vaga
hope that
como
I'll be able to
observador para
find
participar também. Estamos
I'll be able to
caminhando.
go as an observer to participate. So we are moving forward.
Oh, that's very good to hear, Joel, and clever of you to find an alternate pathway into, to be with a group that is prepared to move forward a bit more quickly. But very interesting to know the method of organizing state by state. And I understand, the situation of Brazil is such that it is such a large country and that the realities vary from state to state, and it's not necessarily easy to travel from one to the other, great distances and difficult terrain in some cases. So it is an understandable approach. I'm happy to hear that it is at least organized in that way, even if not every state is moving at great speed. That does sound like good organization, at least. And the fact that you all have the chance to come together in July, will that be before the high level political forum you will come together?
Sim, vai ser na primeira semana de
Yes, it'll
julho.
be the first week in July.
Wow. Oh, that's great. So that will be kind of final preparation and everyone confirming their strategy for the forum. Oh, that's great. Very impressive. And maybe I know we have many other delegates from Brazil who are in this group. Some are present at the moment, and some have been following maybe uh, through the recordings. But maybe if you know how to connect with this group for anyone who has not been able to connect to the SDG movement, if you have any questions that you want to bring to Joel, you can do that now. We are happy to provide time for that information. Or if not, you can connect also in our WhatsApp group for all who are there, because it sounds like there is a lot of opportunity for those in Brazil to be connected to this process. Is that okay, Joel, that I have offered your assistance? Thank you. Obrigada. Is there anyone else who would like to share an experience of interaction or communication with a VNR team from your country?
Bom dia, sou Jairo de Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais.
Good morning.
Estou
I'm Jairo
trabalhando,
from
vou
Belo
tentar
Horizonte,
mais
Minas.
ouvi-los aqui,
I'm
tá bom?
I'm
Prazer
more
estar com
listening to
vocês.
you than anything else, and I just would like to say that it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Welcome and bom dia. Still, yes, still morning, I think, for everyone in Brazil. So welcome to you. And Beth, did I see your hand?
Yes, you did, Teresa. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. My name is Beth Blissman. I am a layperson and also a lay member of the US-based Loretto community. um, and we also have sisters in Pakistan. And Pakistan, thankfully, has done several VNRs, some better than others. But I just wanted to check in and say hello from a country, these not so United States currently at the moment. And I just wanted to check in and say hello and state the reality that often goes unspoken that the US has never and perhaps will never do a voluntary national review, unfortunately, as a country. However, I did want to lift up some hopeful news that states and cities within the United States have been doing voluntary local reviews or VLRs. The one that Hawaii did last summer was very, very good. And they, I think, can be lifted up as a role model, especially around SDG 6 and 7, water and energy, because they realize as a formerly independent country conquered by the US, that if anything goes really wrong internationally, they will probably be left on their own. And they have collaborated, I think, more with other Pacific Island nations than with the mainland US on some things. And so their indigenous systems of preserving clean water and producing energy and food really do offer us some wonderful, excellent models of possibilities as we explore what we all might be facing moving forward. I'll try and find the link to some of their work and put it in the chat, but I just wanted to note that. And then our particular order, of course, as I said in the Africa Regional just recently, we're very focused on education and gender equality. So what we try and do is bring intergenerational delegations to the high level political forum. So I'm hoping you'll see some more different faces from the US and hopefully some younger faces looking to learn with and from all of you as we go through this process together this year. Thank you very much. It's a joy to be here. And thank you, as always, Teresa, for the beautiful work that you're doing.
Thank you very much, Beth. And I will add that perhaps a similar process to what Beth was describing may be occurring in more of your countries too. There may be kind of sub-region or state or province or city level preparations of a review on sustainable development. In some sense, I think that the process that Joelle was just describing about, there is a national movement of civil society that is monitoring SDGs, but they organize state by state. So in that way, there is kind of more local review of progress happening in the progression toward a national review. So something else to keep in mind as we try to survey or scan the landscape in our own national civil society realm, that there may be local opportunities around us as well as the national opportunities. Anne, please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Ann Pratt, and I am the representative at the United Nations for the Dominican Sisters International Confederation connected to the Dominican Leadership Congress. And I also live in the United States, and I happen to live in Sacramento, California. And although the state of California does not do the voluntary national review, my own city of Sacramento does, in connection with UC Davis, the healthcare system, They just released their 2025 report, and I believe also Los Angeles participates, and I think a few other of the bigger cities in California. So I'm anxious to get my hands on that report from Sacramento to see what they have concluded. Sacramento happens to have the third largest homeless population in the United States. So we have lots of issues related to the SDGs. And so they have actually connected this report to the Sacramento 2040 progress plan. So I'm anxious to see what we have in mind and how the SDGs fit with that.
Thank you, Anne. And another good component of our analysis is to recognize that usually every nation has some kind of established written development plan. And in many cases, there will also be a state or province level development plan, maybe even a local development plan, like what Anne was describing. So these are good additional frameworks or standards by which we can assess our overall progress. And even to compare the strength of the, official national or local plan with the strength of the Sustainable Development Agenda, and to see if the national plan is meeting the requirements of the Sustainable Development Agenda itself. I also saw a moment ago the hand of Perry Fenafio. Perry, are you there? And would you like to speak?
Oui, bonjour à tous, bonsoir. Alors,
Good
moi,
morning
c'est
to
Perry.
everybody. I am
Je suis
Perry.
laïque claretin. Je suis
I work
en
with the
RDC à Kinshasa.
Claretians. I am in the I
Alors, moi,
work
de
with
mon
the
côté,
Claretian brothers.
j'avais abordé une
And
association de
I
jeunes
worked
qu'on
with a
appelle le
group of
collectif
young
Jeunes Ambassadeurs
people
d'Afrique. Donc, le collectif Jeunes Ambassadeurs
called
d'Afrique, c'est
the
un
Ambassadors
groupement
of
de jeunes, mais aussi
Africa.
des associations de jeunes
It's
qui
an
œuvrent dans
organization of
l'éducation,
young
l'employabilité
people
et
working in
l'engagement citoyen,
education and
voilà, en République démocratique du Congo,
awareness
mais
in the
dans d'autres pays
society
d'Afrique également.
with other countries
Alors,
in
on a échangé,
Africa.
j'ai posé vraiment la question de
And
savoir
I've been
si
in touch with
il y a
them,
ces
and I wanted
processus
to know if
d'évaluation
they are
sur les ODD.
also working on
Et ils
with
m'ont
the
dit,
team, and they've told me
l'association en
that
question travaille en
that
collaboration avec
association
les
is
services
working with
des volontariats.
a
Donc, le
service
service
of
national des volontariats, il est
volunteers, the National Service of
dans le
Volunteers,
ministère
working
de
with
l'Intérieur.
the
Et c'est sur base
ministry,
de ça
with the
qu'ils mettent une
state, let's say,
politique
with
pour
the government,
organiser
in order
ces
to
grands forums
organize
pour évaluer
the
un peu les
forum
performances des
and
ODD au niveau national.
to
Donc, on
to
m'a dit que c'est dans des
assess
pourparlers, mais avant juillet,
the national
cette rencontre au niveau national vont se
to
faire.
see the
Et
evolution.
on a échangé
And
des
they've told
numéros.
me
Je
that
pense
in
qu'ils
July
vont
they will
revenir
have a
vers moi. Mais de
meeting
toute façon,
and they
on
will
a
call me
partagé
again.
les mails
We have
aussi.
already
Comme ça, ils
shared
mettront au parfum
what
de tout ce
they
qui
are
s'est passé.
doing and
Donc,
they
c'est un peu
will
ça au
let
niveau
me know what they are
de notre
doing.
communauté.
That's what I can share with you.
Great. And to clarify, Perry, when you say that the group is working with the government, so are they contributing to the official report that the government itself will publish, or are they creating an independent report from civil society?
Le groupe,
This group
l'association travaille indépendamment,
association is
mais le
working in an
service
independent
national,
way,
là, c'est vraiment pour le gouvernement.
but the national
Et
service
c'est
is really for the
l'association qui travaille
government.
en collaboration, qui
So
appuie un
they
peu les services
are
nationaux de
working
volontariat.
with the government.
Voilà.
Yeah,
Donc,
that's it.
l'association travaille
So
indépendamment,
the first
mais il travaille en
association
collaboration
that
avec les
I
services
mentioned,
nationaux qui,
but
eux,
in
travaillent pour le
collaboration,
gouvernement.
working in collaboration with the national service that works with the state, let's say.
Okay, very good. So there are kind of two different channels for participation then, and one is kind of under the auspices or knowledge of the government, and the other independent. Well, that sounds very good, and good for you for being linked with both of them.
Indépendant, tout à fait.
Very good. I'm also happy to hear, much like Brazil, it sounds like there will be an in-person meeting or gathering in some way before the forum in July. So that is also a good positive step forward for the unity and collaboration of that group. Did you have something more to add, Perry? I think I may have interrupted you at one moment.
Non, c'est tout, merci. C'était juste ça.
No, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Perry. Ana Elena, did you want to share something with us?
É muito simples o que eu vou partilhar, mas eu fui tocada por várias experiências e,
What I'm
sobretudo,
going to say is very simple, but I was touched by
complementando o
different
que Joel lá de
experiences,
Brasília estava
especially
falando.
complementing what Joel from
Eu sou
Brasilia was
irmã Ana
saying.
Helena, sou
I'm
das
Sister
Irmãs do Sagrado
Elena.
Coração de
I'm
Maria,
from the Sacred
morando no
Heart of
Espírito
Mary.
Santo, numa
I live in
cidade
the
chamada
state of
Linhares,
Espírito
que
Santo in a
muito
town called
foi
Linhares.
destruída
Linhares
pela
was very
chegada
much
do crime lá da
destroyed
Samarco, que Minas
by
Gerais despejou no nosso estado. Então, eu queria
crime that has
trazer
come from
essa
another
preocupação que
state.
nós temos por
So
ser
I'd like
um
to bring
município
this
tão atingido,
concern. We were
mas
very
com
much,
pouca energia e
we don't
visibilidade da
have
presença do
energy and
governo
visibility
local.
or the
Então,
presence of the local
como
government.
participante desses territórios,
So all
nós
the
assumimos,
participants of
porque eu acho que é
these
uma bandeira muito
areas,
forte no
I think we
Brasil,
have
da questão da fome.
a
Então, nós temos
strong
as cozinhas
cause, which is hunger.
solidárias,
So
nós
we have
temos hortas comunitárias, as RUCs, as
kitchens,
redes, mas
public
na questão
kitchens.
da
We have
água,
a
eu vou
large
falar três
network,
questões que nós
but
estamos
I want to
assumindo,
talk about
independente
water.
do governo
There are three
municipal.
issues that we're
O
taking
MAG,
care
que é o
of,
Movimento dos
independent of the
Atingidos,
municipal
que tem a nível de Brasil e
government.
fora do Brasil.
One
Então,
is
nós
called
assumimos
Madi,
em
and
regência,
we've
num território
taken
muito
over
atingido, o
in a
tratamento da água
area
potável.
the
Então, algumas pessoas se
treatment of
reuniram,
drinking water. So some
fizeram, né,
people
toda
got
essa
together,
experiência de
they
como
put together this
melhorar a água.
experience of
Isso
how to
trazendo uma
improve the
experiência
water.
de muita
This is
confiança para os
bringing an
moradores.
experience, a
E
very good
também com
experience
grupos
to
de
the people
adolescentes
that live in,
e
also
crianças num
groups of
outro território.
adolescents in
Nós
another
estamos trabalhando a
area. We
questão
are working
dos mangues, a
with the
preservação
issue
dos mangues.
of the mangroves, the
E também, de uma
preservation of
forma
the
geral, nós
mangroves.
estamos
And
envolvendo todas as
in general,
escolas
we
e
are involving
projetos
all the schools in
na
this
questão
project,
da coleta dos resíduos sólidos.
especially
Então, isso tem
collecting
exercitado muito esse
solid
momento
residues.
da campanha da
So
fraternidade do ano
we
que
have
vem,
the
que foi sobre a
fraternity
ecologia,
campaign
e
next year,
desse
which is
ano, que
about
foi a questão da
ecology.
moradia, que tudo
And
tem a
then this
ver
year we
com
also
essa
work with
situação dos morros, dos
residents.
mangues,
It
a
all
situação
has
da
to do
água.
with the situation of the
Então, é um pouco
mangroves,
por
the
aí, e
water, the
ascendendo
hills.
também, estando atento
So
com o Plano Nacional
we
das
also
ODS.
pay
Então, é isso
attention
daí,
to
um
the
pouco
national
daquilo que eu estou
plan
vivendo agora.
of the SDGs. So that's what we're doing now.
Thank you very much, Ana Elena. And those all sound like beautiful contributions to the overall sustainable development agenda.
Teresa, you have a terrible echo. We cannot interpret. I don't know what's happening.
How is it now? Okay, I think it is gone. Yes, I could hear it also. Sorry about that. So, Ana Elena, I think those are wonderful contributions to several of the goals, which are a focus for this year's forum. And so I hope that you have been able to make some connection also with the Movimiento ODS in Brazil. I don't know if the process in your state has been progressing well, or maybe it is a little slow, which is the problem Joel was describing. Have you had any interaction with that movement, with that group?
Não, as distâncias, aquilo que o Joel mesmo falava, as
It's what
estradas, as
Joel
distâncias,
said, the
dificuldades
distances,
têm
the
nos prejudicado muito.
difficulty of
Mas
moving
a gente vai
around
chegar lá,
is something that hinders us a lot,
porque
but
tem
we'll get
pessoas
there
desses grupos
because there
fazendo
are people
caminhada,
from these groups
exercitando para
that
que
are
chegue isso
doing
também na esfera
a
nacional.
journey so that this can reach the national sphere. They're on a journey.
Excellent. Thank you for your efforts to connect. I know that is always a challenge, but in the end, I think it helps us to arrive at bigger solutions to involve everyone and serve everyone. Is there anyone else who would like to share an experience? Yes, Sister Edite.
Boa tarde, desde Moçambique. Somente iria partilhar também um pouco de uma experiência.
Good afternoon. I'd like
Primeiramente
to
dizer, ainda não
tell you
temos assim
about
grupo como voluntários,
my experience. It's
mas
a
como
voluntary
congregação
group,
estamos a
and
procurar
as a
formas de
congregation, we try to
abranger uma
find
situação que
ways
se vive
to
num
deal with
estado
the
chamado Cabo
situation
Delgado,
in the
onde
situation, the
milhares
state
de
where we are,
famílias se
where
deslocam por causa da
families
situação de
they
guerra que se vive
dislocate themselves
naquele
because of the
local.
situation of the
Então,
land
como
in different
congregação,
areas.
estamos a
So,
procurar
as a
formas
congregation, we try
de
to find
trazer
ways
um pouco de dignidade a
to
essas
bring
famílias
dignity to
deslocadas.
these
Então,
families
ainda
that
não temos
uh,
assim
don't have anywhere to
trabalho
live. So
como movimentos ou
w-
como um movimento nacional
it's
ou
not
de
a
região,
national
mas ainda
movement
estamos
or
a
regional
estruturar como
movement.
congregação.
We're still
Somente
structuring
era essa
this as a
experiência que queria
congregation.
partilhar. Muito
That's what I
obrigada.
would like to share with you, my experience.
Thank you, Sister Edite. And it is also an important effort to organize within our own institutions and congregations to be able to connect with and relate to these larger networks. So that is also an important component of the work. Is there anyone else who has joined a VNR team from your country and had any meeting or communication with them? Okay, I don't see any hands. So I will proceed to my second question for all of you, which is to ask if you have had the opportunity to follow any session, any even, half hour of recording of any part of the regional forum for sustainable development for your own region. You will remember that I shared links to, time and date and where to find them online during our last two calls. So did anyone manage to follow any of those meetings for your own region? And if so, what are your reflections from it? Did you find that what was shared was very accurate and a strong illustration of the reality that you have experienced in your own country? Or did you find that the ideas presented were in some way conflicting with your experience? Or were there significant gaps in the conversation? Were there serious problems or serious areas of progress that were not being discussed in that space? So does anyone have any reflections to share if you were able to follow any part of the forum for your region? Yes, please, Helga and Ferdinand.
Yes, I was very impressed when seeing the process and all the countries delivering their statements and their knowledge. And I didn't see anybody from Norway, but there were a lot of countries. So that was the Regional Forum for Europe, for the US, Canada, and some Asian states. And I followed quite closely to what they told about water and energy and food production. And I learned about in the side events about artificial glaciers to preserve drinking water. I've never heard about that. And there are a lot of really good processes going on. And there was also a lot of discussion about how to get the data and collect and know what kind of processes there are. So for me, hearing that, I think, yes, there's a lot of very, very good work being done. And I feel a little bit stupid because I know so little. But okay, I think there's a lot of development and people really trying to progress. And they said also that it's only 14% of all the goals reached by now, only 14. So there's much to do. And yes, my own country was not present or I didn't hear anything. I really tried to get some information. But well, we'll see when they present their VNR. Yes, thank you.
Great. Well, once again, Helga, how very good that you were there. Even if others were not speaking from your country, at least you guaranteed there was some attention from Norway on that forum. And I understand the feeling, of having to adopt some humility when being in the middle of a meeting like that, because of course there is endless information about many aspects of development, and it can be intimidating. But if anything, that should be, I think, a source of comfort to us to know how many people have been building expertise in so many areas. And of course, it's not possible for any of us to have that full range of knowledge, but that is the reason we come together. so that each one can share each person's area of deep expertise. And then we have all the possibilities and all the facts on the table side by side, and then we can find better solutions. So certainly no need to feel stupid. It's so good that you are in that space. And of course, you have your own experience and expertise that I wish you had an opportunity to share in that forum too. But at least we know you will have a chance to share something in the process of the global level forum because you are participating in this VNR team. So you too will have your chance to share expertise, and it will be very worthy alongside all of these other experts in different areas of development. So continue.
Thank you, Teresa. Very fine that you are so positive.
It's not possible to know everything. And as people of faith, we should have even a better appreciation of the fact that, the depth and the mystery is beyond all of us. And so it's the best we can do to each bring our own piece and our own gift and our own perspective. And that is our role. And anyone who thinks they are an expert in the whole is really missing the truth. I think.
That's true. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else who was able to follow or watch part of the forum for your region that would like to share their reflections on that? Not seeing any hands. I will proceed then to our little bit of input for today, which is on where to find and how to approach a critique to the Voluntary National Review report that will be published by your government in the course of the next month or so. So the first thing that I can share is that right now there should be a very brief overview published by your government. It's already available online, and it is called the main messages of what their full VNR report will be. So this is meant to be just a very, very succinct kind of summary of the key ideas, the main points that the government intends to include in their full report. So those are already available on the VNR database, and they are available usually in the original language in which they were submitted to the UN. And if that language is not one of the UN languages, the official languages, then it will also be available in one of the 6 official UN languages. But the more significant piece of information that I want to ask us all to be alert to is that shortly after the 8th of June, hopefully sometime in that week following the 8th of June, you will be able to find the full written report from your government that should be posted in the VNR database for the HLPF. And so we will have a few weeks between when that may become available and when we will meet again. So I want to show you all exactly where to look online so you can begin to monitor that page starting on June 8th and then kind of keep checking back every couple of days so that you are sure to see the report as soon as possible and have some time to look at it, find the sections that are most interesting to you, and to begin to reflect on it before we meet again. So here is a visual, and you may remember we showed you how to find this page in the past when you were invited to look at reports from previous years that had been published by your government. So this is the same database as before. It will have reports from all the past years in which your government made a presentation, but it will very soon also include the report from this year. So it is this same page, and I will share these slides so you will again have that link at your fingertips. But you will come to this page where each of the countries who are reporting this year are listed, and you will find the name of your country and click on it. And then you will come to a page that looks like this, with your country's name and flag at the top. And then at the very top of the text on that page, you should see Voluntary National Reviews 2026. And you will click right on the text itself. So what's within this red circle here, you will click on the text, Voluntary National Reviews 2026. And that will take you to a page that looks something like this. And you will probably see this body of text right here will be at least one version of what I was describing as the main messages, meaning that brief overview that may appear here. You may also find that there is a link to it over on the sidebar here. And this is especially important for countries from which there may be multiple languages available for these main messages. I believe, for example, for Brazil, that the main messages appear here in English only, but if you click on a link on the side, you will find that they are available in Portuguese as well. So be sure to check this sidebar to see if main messages are available in a language that you may prefer to the one that is displayed here. But the other important thing to look at in the sidebar is to find the link to the current VNR report. And you can see there are two different places that I have circled and pointed to on this page. The same documents, the same list of documents will appear both alongside the page and then also at the bottom. So this is the same thing repeated twice. So you can look in either place to find the current year's VNR report from your government. And it may be, when you don't see anything with that title, VNR report, or some similar title, then it may not be published yet, but keep returning to this page every day or two until you find that there is a VNR report posted there. And then from there, you can proceed to look through and find the sections that are most relevant or most interesting to you and begin to reflect on them. And once again, just to quickly review one approach that may be helpful to you as you reflect on these reports would be to ask yourself three big questions, which are, where does my experience align with the report? Where does my personal experience conflict with what I am reading in the report? And what are the gaps? What is missing? What additional insights or recommendations would I contribute to this report if I had the opportunity or if I had been consulted by government when they were creating the report? And I do want to emphasize for everyone, once again, that for some countries, these reports may be 100 pages long. They might be 200 pages long. And so I want to emphasize that I have no expectation that you will sit and read a 100 or 200 page report in full. If you have the desire and the time, God bless you, that is wonderful. But I suspect that that is not the case for most of you because you are busy doing other important work, and that you also should try to get some sleep at some point in your day. So, with that in mind, I want to say, go first to the table of contents that will be at the beginning of the report and look at how the different sections are organized and find some piece of the report that seems most interesting and most important to you based on your area of interest, your area of expertise, perhaps the area in which your ministry is most closely connected. And then just go immediately to that part of the report and try to focus your attention in that section of the report. There may also be something like an executive summary at the beginning of the report that may be worth looking at and giving some time to. But definitely do not feel intimidated or overwhelmed by a very long report. Just find one section that is manageable, maybe two sections, and just give your attention to those places and don't be too worried about the fact that it's not possible to really examine the full report. We completely understand that that is too much to ask of any person, really, especially people such as yourselves who have many, many other responsibilities and are already performing a miracle by managing to participate in this program at all. I want to pause there for a moment and ask if anyone has any questions about how to find or reflect on the official voluntary national review report that will soon be published by your government. Okay, not seeing any questions or hands. Great. So everything seems clear, at least in concept. And of course, if you encounter any problems as you attempt to access the report from your government, please be in touch, share in the WhatsApp group or send an email, something. Don't be left without the information simply because you're having some difficulty with the website or getting confused by something. We'll do whatever we can to be sure that you have access to the report and that you have plenty of time to reflect on whatever piece of it is calling to your heart. So the next thing for us to go over together will then be to revisit this kind of end point or end project that I have mentioned a few times during the program, which is that we will be building after the forum itself toward a series of discussions, presentations that we call the JCoR SDG Lab, or Lab ODD de JCoR, or Lab ODS de JCoR, or Lab ODS de JCoR. And so just to review, the structure of this lab will once again be that we will have 5 different sessions. So that will all occur within 1 week. It will be Monday through Friday of the week, July 27th through July 31st. And the timing for these sessions will be the same every day. And it will actually be the same as the timing for these global calls that we have been having together. So whatever time you join this call today, that is the same time that each of these sessions will occur. And as you can see, one day, one session will be dedicated to each of the SDGs that are a priority for this year's HLPF. And so, of course, those are Goal 6 on water and sanitation, Goal 7 on clean energy, Goal 9 on infrastructure, innovation, and industry, Goal 11 on sustainable cities and settlements, and Goal 17 on partnerships for all of the Sustainable Development Goals. And you will be asked to be the main event in each of these sessions. So we are asking each of you to be a speaker or a participant in at least one of these 5 sessions as a way of sharing some of your observations and critiques and reflections on sustainable development in your own country. And so there are a few different ways that you could approach the way that you will share those reflections. You might go about it by just sharing your own personal observations or a critique of the progress that your nation has made toward the particular goal that we are discussing on that day. So whether it's Goal 6, 7, 9, 11, or 17. Or you might choose to specifically critique the voluntary national review report that was published by your government. You may choose to just focus on that report and just critique that report. and again, in relation to the specific goal that we are discussing that day. Or you might approach your presentation by presenting a particular ministry project from your congregation in your country that is contributing to progress toward that particular goal that we are discussing that day. And of course, you also have the option of choosing some combination of these things. You could do a little bit of personal observation, a little bit of commentary on your government's report, and maybe a brief description of a ministry that is related. So however you want to formulate it, these are kind of the three main approaches that you could choose from and choose to focus on one or mix two or three together, however you prefer. And in terms of the kind of logistical details of these presentations, each person would be given a minimum of 5 minutes for their sharing. However, depending on how many people want to speak on that particular day about that particular goal, we may have an opportunity to extend that time. Sometimes speakers have had up to even 15 minutes to speak because they wanted to speak on a day when not as many other delegates requested to speak. So we adjust the schedule or the timing for each day in response to how many delegates want to speak on that day. So for that reason, it becomes very important that we get some indication from you several weeks ahead of the lab itself so that we know how many people will speak on each day so that we can provide you with some guidance about how much time you will each have to speak. So to that end, we have a form that we've created that will allow you to submit your preference for which session you would like to speak in. And then once we have received forms from everyone, we can map out who will speak on which day. And then we can give you all kind of the full detailed instructions about, okay, we confirm you will speak on this day in this session, and you will have X number of minutes to speak on that day. And I will also say, it may be that in the session that you are speaking, you may have been allowed up to 15 minutes, let's say, but if you don't want the full 15 minutes, if you don't have that much to say, and you wish to speak for only 8 or 10, that is completely acceptable. The time that we will give you is only the maximum. So if you are worried about having enough to say to fill the time that we make available for you, don't worry. If you need less, you need less, and that is no problem. We only provide the maximum to ensure that everyone has a fair opportunity to speak on the day that they were assigned. And one other detail that is always important to know is that in some cases, and many of you will have an interest in more than one of the 5 goals that are a priority for this year. And so I would ask you in responding to this form to please share all of the sessions or all of the goals that are of interest to you. And what we may do is, for example, if very many people ask to speak about goal number 6 on water, and a smaller number of people ask to speak about Goal 9 and infrastructure, if you select that you are interested in both Goal 6 and Goal 9, what we may do is ask you to speak on the day that focuses on Goal 9, but you will be very welcome to also discuss Goal 6 in your comments on that day. You can speak about both, but we would probably schedule you for the day dedicated to Goal 9 so that you have more time to speak, as opposed to squeezing everybody in on the day that everyone wants to speak. So we will try to make the schedule so that everyone has the best opportunity to speak. And if it's not the day dedicated to your biggest priority, please know you would still be welcome to speak about multiple goals, no matter what day you are assigned to speak. So now let me pause again and ask if there are questions in this moment about the schedule of the SDG lab, the structure of the lab, or what is being asked of you in terms of preparing for it and submitting which session you would prefer to speak in. Yes, Helga and Ferdinand, please go ahead.
Now I found all the buttons. We have in the meantime found something which is 2 pages and with the headline WNR 2026 Norway main message. But as a surprise, water is not mentioned. And that is something we think is a hot topic. Would that be then a reason? But of course, we need to see the whole WNR. But I think it would be worth to do that because there's a lot of things we know that a lot of different organizations have contributed. We have not met them, but we know they are involved, but they are on the government side, as it looks like. So everything is already involved. And if something is missing, like water, then I think the religious people have to add it. So not that the others are not religious, but to have the whole picture. Okay, so it's probably the right thinking that if something is missing, this is something to get into it.
Definitely a good approach, Ferdinand. And
Okay.
I will say, there may be a dramatic difference between what you see in the main messages and what appears in the final report. So it will be good to wait and see, which is part of the reason why I think many of you probably have some feeling early in our program about, oh, I'm more interested in this goal or this goal. But I do think it is very important to see the report that is published by your government first, in order to feel maybe they have done a very good job of covering everything about the goal you thought you wanted to comment on. And in fact, in another area, you are furious that something is very misrepresented or something is absent. And so it is important, I think, to have that report to which we are in some way responding. So that is why we wait until late June to ask you to indicate which goal you really want to comment on most. So it's good thinking for a start, and I will say bring that thought process into your review of the full report, and then allow that to inform what preference you will submit in the form.
Well, at least if everything is nice, then we will say, okay, everything is nice, and they have to add JCoR to that list of people who contributed.
That's right. That's right. It's true. And oh my gosh, yeah, I wish we could all say everything is nice and good.
We will see.
Unfortunately, many of the government reports will give you that impression. Everything is perfect in our country. Thank you very much. And unfortunately, it is left to us to introduce more nuance and detail into that illustration of reality. So anyway, we will each see how our governments present reality, and then we will have a sense of where we want to enhance the illustration.
Right. Thanks.
Are there any other questions about the SDG Lab or the form which you will use to submit your preferences, or anything that we have just discussed? Okay. One other detail I do want to introduce about the logistics of the lab is that I know very well that any of us can experience internet challenges at any time, no matter where we are in the world. And some of us are more vulnerable to those challenges than others. And so if loss of internet connection or even loss of electricity is a big concern for you, then one option you can consider for participation in the lab is that you can record your presentation in advance and send the video of it so that we have it ready. And if on the day and time of the session itself you are not able to connect, we can still share your input with all who are present. So that way your voice and your insights are still included, which of course is of highest importance to us. And the other important detail about preparation for the lab is that we ask you to submit to us, to me, a full week before your presentation. We would like to receive some kind of material that gives details of what you plan to say. And this could be in the form of slides. If you want to create like PowerPoint slides, you are welcome to do that. Or if you don't want to have visual like that, even just a simple Word document with an outline of the main points and ideas that you intend to share, that is also good. And the reason that we ask for that material in advance is because we will have interpreters with us to help in all of the same languages that we are using on this call. And it is a significant help to the interpreters to have some kind of material to work from a little bit in advance in order for them to best communicate the ideas that you are sharing with all. So for that reason, as you prepare, please keep in mind that we will be looking to receive either your written notes or outline or slides, whatever it is that you prefer. We will be looking to receive those the week before the lab itself. So just keep that in mind as the timeline for your preparation. And again, I will let you know as we finalize the schedule, whether you have 5 minutes or 15 minutes or somewhere in between for your particular presentation. And then we will proceed from there. And I will share the link to that form that you will use to indicate your preferences. That will be in the slides that I share from today's call. And I will also probably circulate it again every week or so between now and the 28th of June, which is the final day to submit your preferences. Any last questions on that? And by last, I mean last for today, because of course, you're always welcome to ask more questions later.
Hello, Teresa.
Yes, Margaret.
I just want a little bit of clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when people are preparing what to share during the collab, are we like confined to countries that are reporting this year?
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the case that most of the people participating in this program are coming from countries that will report this year. But there may be some of you who have been following the process out of pure curiosity, or maybe your government has not ever reported, and you still want to participate. So many reasons you might be participating even though your country is not, or your government is not reporting this year. So if that is the case for you, I will still ask you to submit a form if you're interested to speak during the lab. However, it may be the case if we have too many people, which isn't usually a problem, but if we had too many people who needed to speak on a particular day, we would give priority to those delegates from countries that are reporting this year. But we would still love to hear from each of you. We may just have to be more creative about where we fit you in the schedule. It may have to be on a day that wasn't necessarily your first preference in terms of which SDG you wanted to focus on. But we would still love to hear from you in one of the 5 days. Does that clarify sufficiently?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. I don't see any more questions. So let me proceed then in reviewing our next steps. So I know some of you are still awaiting the first regional call just to meet and greet and get to know others from your region who are participating in this program. So those are happening in the next few days if they have not happened already. The group from Latin America will meet just a couple of hours after this call concludes, which will be at 2 p.m. New York time. So you can determine what that is in relation to where you are. I think for most of Latin America, it will be either 2 or 3 p.m. But then late in the month of June and early July, we will be scheduling a second round of regional calls. And this will be specifically for the purpose of discussing initial reactions to the written reports that will soon be published by your governments. We want you to have an opportunity to debrief and share reactions to your own government's report with other delegates from your region. So I will, after we conclude this first round of regional calls, so things don't get too confusing, I will send around an email to try to find a suitable date and time for a second round of regional calls that will be in late June or early July. So please be on the lookout for that email and help us to find a good day and time so that you can join the conversation. Then another important task is, again, starting in the week of June 8th, please be consulting that VNR database page that I showed you earlier in the call and checking to see if your government's report has been published there so that as soon as it becomes available, you can begin to examine and reflect on it. And another task for the meantime is to make some decision and do some discernment about which sessions of the SDG Lab you would be open to offering some presentation or some comments in. So you can reflect on, where you feel you have the most to share, or perhaps the area where it is most important to comment based on how well one topic or another was covered in your government's report. And then to submit by the 25th of June your response to the form that I'll be sending around, in which you will indicate which session of the lab you would like, or which sessions of the lab you would be open to participating in as a speaker. And finally, of course, we want to see you again for our next global call for all our delegates, which will be on the 30th of June. And again, at the same time as today's call. So whichever time you join today, it's the same time on the 30th of June. And that will be our final opportunity to come together as a full group before the forum itself. So on that day, we will have an opportunity to review all of the details about how to virtually follow the HLPF itself. And we will also go over more details about your personal preparation for participation in the JCoR SDG Lab. So, are there any last questions for today about what our next steps are or how to complete any of them? Okay. I'm not seeing any hands, so I think we can call this particular session to a close. And I want to thank all of you once again for using your precious time to be here and participate in this exchange and to proceed once again a few more steps in our long journey together. And I look forward to seeing many of you in the next few days in regional calls, those from Latin America in just a couple of hours, those in the Asia Pacific region just about 11 hours from now, we will meet online. And those from Europe and North America, I will look forward to seeing you on Monday, either midday or evening, depending on your time zone. So lots of opportunities to connect in these few days. And then we will be together as a full group again on the 30th of June. And in the meantime, I will be sending you slides from today, and all of the important links will come to you by email and by WhatsApp. So keep following the process there in the meantime. And if you have any difficulties or any questions, please be in touch and we will work to resolve them together.
So, Teresa, I hope this is recorded for those who are not here who wanted to attend.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
good.
Yes, it is. And we will post the recordings in
Thank you.
each language as well. Okay. Thank you all very much. And thanks again to our interpreters who have served us so well today once again. To Anna, to Vivian, to Gabriella. Thank you so much for your collaboration. And I look forward to seeing everyone again very soon or soon.
Thank you, Teresa. Can you stay on for a quick minute for a quick question on a different topic?
Leave.
Thanks so much, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.